Konnichiwa, and welcome back to We Needed Roads, and this time we're diving into Rental Family, a film about connection, performance, and the strangely fragile lines between who we are and who we pretend to be. It's quietly funny, gently uncomfortable, and very good at making you question whether emotional authenticity can be rented by the hour. We're talking tone, performance, and whether the film's restrained approach makes it hit harder than something more obvious. Is this a tender exploration of loneliness in modern life, or a concept that risks being a little too polite and surface level for its own good? David, would you rent a family?
You know what? I might. Sometimes mine get annoying, and you might just want to swap them in for something better. You know?
And hit the music. And welcome back to We Need Roads podcast. And yes, we are talking a Rental Family, a quite smaller scale film starring Brendan Fraser, directed by Asian filmmaker Hikaru. It's set in modern day Tokyo, and Fraser stars as Philip Vanderploeg, a struggling American actor who seems broke, lonely, and directionless. He takes an initially bizarre job at a company called Rental Family, a real-life service where actors are hired out to play relatives, friends, and emotional support roles. As the film progresses, we see that Philip begins to get maybe a bit too attached to his assignments, as the line between performer and person blurs, but it's at this point that Philip, a chronically lonely person himself, finds the worth in real human connection and emotion, even if it's a paid-for service, as although he's acting, he provides a real emotional connection for these people. So right, let's get into the good, the bad, and the what the fuck moments from Hikaru's Rental Family. The good. David, what's your first good?
It's a beautiful film. It was emotional. It was funny. It pulled on your heartstrings, and it made you feel really freaking amazing whilst watching it. It made you feel like the beauty of life and the beauty of human connection. There are so many good things in this film. How everything just links together well to make you feel that way. How it all links together. How all the elements of the film link perfectly to make you feel the beauty of human connection.
Well, I'll break into a few more specifics. First of all, I agree with literally everything you said, but also I will say the acting. Brendan Fraser gives such a melancholic masterpiece here. He's got like this almost permanent hangdog expression on his face, and this film doesn't work without his big-hearted performance. It's gentle, it's sincere, and emotionally open. I honestly thought this was better than his performance in The Whale that he won the Oscar for. I mean, as good as The Whale is, and as deserved as it was for Fraser in that, it was kind of more typical Oscar fare. He got to do all the expected baity, big Oscar emotional moments, that kind of stuff. Here, his performance was more restrained and internal, which, as we always know, those type of performances don't get noticed as much. We just see the loneliness seeping through every pore of him the whole way through the film, and just that feeling of how, even having lived there 7 years, he still doesn't know where he belongs in the world.
I agree. It's really fantastic. It was a really understated performance. It's a really soft, quiet performance. It's not brash. It's not in your face like a certain Chalamet's. It is very down-toned, internal, private. You almost feel like he's reaching into something personal to bring out that performance, because it isn't like you said, it's not over the top, it's not brash, it's not the one thing right in my life from The Whale.
Yeah, it's better.
It's better than more
that.
Grounded. And I'm with you. I thought it was fantastic. For Brendan Fraser, I'm loving the Brendan Fraser.
The Renaissance.
The Renaissance. I'm loving it.
What I also love about this film is his two main assignments that kind of make up the bulk of the film. So the first is where he pretends to be a young mixed-race girl's father. She's called Mia, and her mother needs a father present to get her into this top school. And so it's, quite an obvious business arrangement there. And although we never learn about her real father, Phillips has to step into the role. And, it's that bit in the trailer where she's like, this is your father. And she's like, I hate you. And then storms off. And like, oh, brilliant. And it's really heartwarming to see their bond grow throughout the film. And the young actress, Shannon Mahina Gorman, she gives such a brilliant and I assume debut performance as Mia. And it's so heartbreaking for Philip when Mia's mother tells him, look, the assignment's complete. She's in the school. Don't text my daughter anymore. And it's also unfair on Mia, who'd slowly grown to let her father back into her life again. And then suddenly he's ripped away from her again. Especially as we learn as well at this point that he's turned down this big TV role in Korea, South Korea, because he felt he couldn't abandon Mia, but then he's forced to as well. It's like, no, emotions.
It felt cruel, didn't it, from the mother, the mother's perspective. Like the second that when they're going through like the terms and conditions of this this arrangement, and she says, no, it's better for the daughter to not know that you're not her dad and just to act ill. It's better for her to really think that you're her dad. The second they said that, you're like, oh, you know where this is going. It's going to be emotional. She's going to get sad about it. And it went exactly that way.
But it kind of has a happy-ish resolution because after like the whole horrible incident where like, he has to leave, and she's devastated. She hates her mum. One of her friends sees him on TV and she realizes then her mother was lying to her.
Yeah, as a pirate. Right, I thought it would be the toothpaste one that was referenced earlier.
That would have made it a bit more obvious.
Yeah, but the one that he's more famous for, I think, other people had seen him in that. But it was just a random pirate.
Perhaps he was a toothpaste pirate.
Maybe that's the next. Maybe it's the same commercial, and we just didn't
Perhaps
get to that
have
point.
the full context. Yeah. But after this, like you have the scene where she goes into their mum's room and the mum apologises. And the mum apologises all the time afterwards. And, quite rightly, Mia gives her some shit and ignores her for a little while. But then as time passes, she comes into the room, sits down by her mum, and her mum apologises again. After that, Philip gets to go and meet her at a school as well, which is nice. And he's introduced himself as Philip. And I kind of like that. It's like, we got a nice resolution there to the end of that. So, yeah, I just thought that was most films, that would be the main storyline. But no, we had more.
I really liked the adult escort characters as well. And her involvement in it, because it was like her line where she's like, oh, I'm like helping people physically and you're helping people emotionally. Like we're doing the same job kind of thing. And I was like, they are kind of doing the same job. And how she's just like really... I really liked her character. I really liked those scenes because I felt like that was where he was emotionally opening up more, because she was almost like a therapist to him. So when you got to like peel back some of the layers of Philip, I really liked those moments. I thought they were really well done.
It was such a refreshing portrayal of a sex worker in a film as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a standard.
It wasn't
in
any way like there was nothing negative about it. It was all like perfect. It was all consensual. It was all, and she was like a lovely person, like outside, even when they met outside of like paid time, if whatever.
Yeah, because she's the woman on the stool when he's out with Mia, isn't she?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I really liked that. I really liked that there was a really positive portrayal of it. Yeah.
Well, no, it's like you summed it up at the start. They were like with that quote that she provides physical, he provides emotional.
Yeah.
And the irony that she's providing physical to someone who's then providing the emotional to other people, it's like a lovely little circle. Yeah, I really like that. Philip's other main job is for a retired actor called Akira Emoto, played by Kiko Hagasawa, whose daughter hires him to pretend to be a journalist to interview her father, who's suffering dementia. And she thinks that having Philip talk with him about his career will kind of give him, a bit more lust for life, a bit of spark as he remembers, and keep his memory active. And chatting with Philip does give Akira a bit of a new lease on life. And after Philip's no longer allowed to contact Mia, perhaps he then selfishly decides to say fuck it and actually decides to take Akira on this road trip that he keeps going on about. And he basically breaks him out and kidnaps him. Legally, he does. But the idea is to take him back to his childhood home in Amamuska without his daughter's knowledge. And it's such a beautiful scene in a road trip where we learn that Akira he'd left a time capsule behind, buried from his previous life, which included a first wife who he left behind when he went off to pursue an acting career in Tokyo, and that she died shortly after. And I have to admit, I thought the film was going to go super dark at this point, because we just had it intercut with, him losing contact with Mia. And then I thought, do you know what? Akira's going to keel over here, because they definitely teased it.
A little bit.
A little bit, but they teased it twice. The first time when they wake up in the house and he's gone, I was like, he's just going to be laying dead somewhere, or he's not going to find him. Oh, it's going to be awful, man. No, don't do this to us. And he doesn't. And I'm like, oh, yay. Then they get back to civilization, and then he collapses on the road. I was like, oh no, he's definitely carked it. And he didn't. He survives. Thankfully, all the charges, because it's funny, because then Philip gets arrested for kidnapping.
Survives for a bit longer anyway.
Yeah, but he does eventually die. He does eventually die. But
no, but I agree. I really love that scene as well, and I love that they use that as like a sort of, because everybody's going to have that first love thing, and it is genuinely a really powerful thing, because it isn't something that you ever properly forget. In that you can have a whole other life, you can have everything else. You know, he clearly did, because he had a daughter. You know, his daughter wasn't from this person, so he had this whole other thing. But then it was still up here, and it was still significant to him and important, and even at the very end of his life. And how it was all done, it was really emotional, really beautiful. One of the things that I really liked, another thing, is all of the moral difficult moments and questions that Philip had to go through in doing all of his different jobs, and how the moral conflict that he was feeling at so many different points. So like, should he be pretending to be this person's daughter's father? Should he, as this like old dying man's last wish, should he do that? Should he break him out and go against his daughter's wishes and mental health stuff? Should he pretend to marry somebody, you know, just to go against just because he's asking him to go against something like that? And he had so many like these moral challenges and what he's doing, and then how the film eventually resolved that as well. And I enjoyed as well by having one of the other rental family actors,
Akio,
and she was doing like apology. It was like the apology service.
I've got that actually. I've got that in the bad actually.
You didn't like the apology service?
I liked it, but I'll get into it in a second. I got pros and cons to that.
I liked how the resolution of all the moral difficulties that he was feeling and all the negatives that could come out of what they're doing as a service was shown in the apology sections, and her with the basically pretending to be the
mistress,
the mistress of a bloke that's having an affair, because the bloke was too much of a coward to actually show the real mistress to his wife, because he probably He probably wants to continue with it. But anyway, I liked that.
The last thing I want to mention on the good is I loved the cinematography of it again. I felt we got a real look at Japan. Like in so many films you watch in a big city, like a famous big city, you know, there's that cinematic idealized version of a city. London, Paris, New York, Tokyo, they're the big four, really. So it's so great to see an authentically real version of the city immortalized on film. I mean, I'm just watching it going, wow, there's a lot of trains. People spend a lot of time on trains here. And I do remember briefly that, I mean, I've been to Japan a few times here and there, and I really wish I'd seen more of it when I was working over there about a decade ago. I wish I had more time off there to go and...
I've never been. I'd love to go to Japan. I think it'd be amazing.
We were in Tokyo. Brief aside, we were in Tokyo one day, like a team outing, and we went to we tried to find the most local restaurant we could. Walked in, nothing's in English. We're the only non-Asian people in there, and my Kiwi manager, literally, we're looking at the menu and then like nodding at us and smiling. We're like, oh shit, we haven't got a clue what we're doing here. And the most cringeworthy, embarrassing thing, my manager, who's the loveliest lady from New Zealand, goes to the other table next to us and goes, what is that? Is it any good? And starts pointing at it, and we're like, no. And they're just like, yes. And then we'll have what they're having. And we just got brought what these other people were having because it smelled and looked good. And weirdly, in Japan, because we had a few, obviously, you know, big American company we were working for, so you expect to tip or leave, you know, great service, fantastic food, you leave a tip in a lot of other cultures. What was funny was we left the tip and the guy ran out the street after us. And we're like, oh, we haven't given him enough money. So we went to give him more money. And he's like, no. And he was giving us the tip money back.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow, okay, tips aren't a thing there. Or at least they weren't in that particular place where we were at the time. Yeah. Japan, man. Lovely place.
Back to the film. I was gonna say, still in the good, I really liked the Rear Window moments where he's in his apartment and he's just looking across the street and he's just seeing everybody else's apartments and all their other lives. And you've got the new family with their baby and they're looking after that. And you've got the old man who's just reflecting on his life there. I just loved the Rear Window looking at, yeah.
Well, as great as it was, there are a couple of... I mean, again, I had to kind of nitpick again on the bad.
I don't know what you're going to say for the negative because I'm struggling to think of anything.
I literally had to Google
it. I have one little one.
That's what she said. So my first
Trust
kind
me,
of
man, it
bad.
weren't what she said. I'm joking.
Made it weird. Made it weird.
I did.
Not enough love for Brendan Fraser's performance here. It's not necessarily bad about the film. It's just, dude, this was a better performance than The Whale, and he should have got more awards attention.
The fact that there isn't any awards attention around him is not even mentioned, or not even like trying to be hyped. Do you know how like Dwayne Johnson was like desperately trying to get himself mentioned in it? And I didn't dislike his performance in The Smashing Machine, but how he was like very much trying to, in all the marketing of it, he's basically trying to get himself into that category. There was none of that from this. None of the marketing of it actually is one thing that could be a negative.
Well, it was Fox Searchlight, which is like their indie arm, isn't it? So I'm guessing they were just like, oh, it's a small indie film. Who cares?
People deserve to see this. People should see it, and it deserves better. It deserves better marketing push.
Maybe, and again, this is just nitpicking. Maybe we didn't get enough detail on Philip's backstory. Like, maybe we wanted to know why he was so lonely. Why was he still there? We learn very little about him, other than he sees his sex worker friend on a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't need to know that.
No, and
like, I get what you mean. Like, why is he in Japan in the first place? Why is he? Why is he on his own? Why did he decide to be all the jazz? But I didn't. You know what? I didn't think. Not until now have I thought
Did
that.
you think about that? Yeah. Because the film did such a good job of making it not about that, but in a traditional, I suppose, Western film to a point, you would expect to, right, here's our main character. Let's explore why he has all these different decisions, why he is the way he is. That's what the film will explore. What trauma made it? And all we learn, really, is he didn't travel home for his father's funeral. That's it. That's the only thing. He is a blank, sad slate, Brendan Fraser, in this film. And although it is Philip's story, again, this is a minor bad for me, I would have liked more with his fellow workers at the rental family, especially Akio and Kota as well. I mean, we do get that subplot, which you just mentioned, with Akio becoming unhappy with her role as an apology girl.
Funniest moment in the film.
Akio and Kota go there to pretend to be lawyers, but then his boss, Shinji, turns up pretending to be the policeman as well.
Yeah. And then so they're there. So there's that moment where they're both there being like, oh fuck, we're fucked. There's an actual policeman turning up here. What do we do? And then he turns up and it's their boss and he's doing the exact same thing they're doing. It was just funny, man. It was well done. The three clones of yourself that sit behind me absolutely keeling themselves over at that.
In joke for our regular listeners there, when we go to our screenings, our local, there are three bald gentlemen of middle age, shall we say.
Me and Neil don't sit next to each other. We're in the same screening. We hate each other. Yeah. We're quite literally opposite ends of the cinema. You're in the far corner.
We could not be further apart. Yeah, it's just needs to be. So with Akio, she has this like role as an apology girl, and it's weird, but I guess apparently true part of Japanese culture, where these men who have been cheating on their wives hire women to pretend to be their mistresses to approach their wives and apologize. And of course, this usually involves Akio getting slapped and berated by angry housewives. And I think the film could have got into some more darker territory there with Akio. But again, crucially, that's not the message this film wants to tell. If it was a darker film, it'd be like, oh yeah, this is bad. And Philip, obviously he's not a fan of it. And when they meet in the bar and they have a drink and he's like, oh, this is bad. Is anyone going to do anything? It just also doesn't explore the ethical issues of creating the false attachments enough. And it tries to make a case that even though one person is acting for the other person, the experience is real, and therefore it does have worth, which I get. But also it is kind of, I don't know, I can see both sides of it. The film is trying to portray it as something noble and good. But also, it can be that. It can be, like you say.
I think they could have got a lot darker with it, like you're saying. But I don't think that was what the film was and what it was showing. But it's definitely something that could have been explored more.
And some other complaints I saw about the film that I don't necessarily agree with, but this is just what some of what was floating around the net. Some people thought that the sentimentality feels forced and that the film takes maybe a too twee approach to the subject matter of rented relationships. I agree to a point. It is a very surface level film, but it's one that wants to explore the loneliness, but then also show there is a hope for its characters and that it can be, the rental family thing can be a positive thing. So again, where we've just mentioned, oh yeah, it could have gone darker here, could have done it there. That's not the story this film wants to tell. It's like a warm hug of a film, this one. Before we move on, do you have any other bads?
I just have one small bad, and it's not a because I genuinely love the film. So at the very end of the film, it's like literally one of the last scenes, and it felt very sitcom, where they had the rental family offices, and because they've made the change in their policy to remove like the apology stuff and everything like that, it felt very like, oh, we've got new plants, we've opened the blinds, we're letting new light in, everything's fun and dandy, and look at all the work we're getting in, and everyone's happy at work, and I've got the new employees and all that sort of stuff. And it felt very like cheesy, sitcom-y in a way. That scene and that sequence of everyone sort of running around, like, that felt kind of off-piece to me.
You're off-piece. All right, then that brings us on to the what the fuck section. And this isn't really what you would call a big what the fuck moment kind of film in a good or bad way, I would say. But there was one for me that absolutely I did not see coming. And it is the reveal that Philip's boss at the rental family, Shinji, has his own rental family. Like, because you see him dealing with them at work, and then he goes home and he's got his wife making a perfect meal. He's got his kid. He sits down. They talk about sports. I was like, oh, he's got a really nice, regular, normal family. And it should have clicked to me at that point that, wait a minute, why would you run a company called Rental Family if your life's so perfect at home? But it made perfect sense watching it that first time. And what a rug pull, because like you say, it's a shock when he goes back after he's had a bad day and he's found out, I forget whether it's the situation to do with Akio or Philip, but it's some combo of that. And you see there, and it's a genuinely shocking moment. But again, we don't learn enough about him throughout the film or after this incident. Like you say, do the rest of the rental family workers know Shinji employs his own rental family? Like, I wonder where he got them from. It's a strange one, because there's surely people in that industry, they know each other, right? So they'd be like, oh, hi, Akio. Yeah, oh, yeah, I'm going off to your boss's house tonight. And you'd be like, huh? So, but then again, not showing too much of it, I think if you'd hinted at all, you had one scene and then you had the reveal, and it worked perfectly. So it's like, oh shit, that's not his real family. That was like, it was truly shocking.
What was the moment? Wasn't it where she says to do a line again? He says, say that again, or say
that again.
And they give a different response, right? Or something like that.
No, it's just when he says, say that line again.
Yeah, and she does it. And it's like,
and you're like, oh shit. And then he's like, you can go early today, and they just get up and leave. In a film that doesn't really necessarily have a big, I mean, like you said, you were trying to think of a what the fuck moment, and could you really think of one? There's not really, is there?
No, there isn't.
It's not that type of film.
No, it's not. I liked, there's lots of like just really good moments in it, but it's not that sort of like, oh my God, mind blowing kind of film.
Yeah, so I think that about wraps us up on Rental Family. Big thanks to David for digging into me with this one. It's a film that is deceptively gentle, quite strange, lingers longer than you expect once it's over, and it's just a warm hug of a film.
What kind of rental, man? What would you order from the service, Neil?
That is a question I'm not going to tell people on the internet, David, because people are weird on the internet.
What would I get? I don't know. I'd get maybe.
I mean, if your wife has seen the intro to this episode, you might be in the market. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I might need a new family. Yeah.
David, where can people find you on the socials?
Blue Sky. You can check me at long.d at Blue Sky, where I'll post faithfully once a month. But my most recent post got reposted by Joe Abercrombie, the fantasy author. So that was pretty cool.
Nice.
And you can also check me out on Instagram at We Needed Roads.
And if you want more We Needed Roads nonsense, you can find us everywhere. And on across the socials, the names get slightly longer each one we go on. On Twitter, we're at Needed Roads. I forgot the we. On Instagram, we're at We Needed Roads. And on TikTok, we're at We Needed Roads Podcast. And you can follow me personally at Neil_Gregory78 on Instagram and Threads. Go on Threads, people. There's so much interaction on there. You post something on Threads and like hundreds of people like it or reshare it. We don't get that on it. We don't get that on Twitter. I'm just saying, it just doesn't happen. Follow us on Threads. Go to Threads, people. It's good. And We Needed Roads is available on all major podcast platforms. We'd love it if you subscribe to us on YouTube and gave us a follow on Spotify, where you can see the full video episodes as well as hear us. We've been We Needed Roads, and you know, sometimes it's okay to pretend.
We Needed Roads.
What are you looking at, butthead?